Can you hear me now? We want to welcome you this morning to a new broadcast originating here in TV24 Springs. We're currently located here this morning at the Corner Cafe on the corner of 8th Street and Highway 90. We're coming to you live today. In case any glitches in the program, there's no reruns or no retakes. We're coming to you live. I'm Roger White, hosting today's program, and we want to thank you for viewing and tuning in to us today. Our sponsor for today is going to be Polar Caps, a business here in TV24 Springs, and we're going to bring him in just a little while. His name will be Paul Lewis. We're going to be interviewing different guests throughout the morning, and we're going to have a little points of interest as they come in the doors. I've been noticing already here at the cafe where different people have been coming in and different businessmen around, and we're going to find that as these businessmen come in, who knows, one day they may want to be on the program, and as a result, we'll have them coming in and telling about their businesses and what is happening in their world in TV24 Springs and Walden County and the adjoining counties that may be viewing by this telecast today. We want to thank you for viewing in and tuning in today for Hometown Mornings. The name of our program is Hometown Mornings, and we want to thank you for viewing this morning. We have with us at the present time, our sponsor is Polar Caps, Mr. Paul Lewis, and I want to introduce him at this particular time. Good morning, Paul.
How y'all doing?
All right. Tell us a little bit about Polar Caps.
Well, Polar Caps is a local air conditioning and heating company. We've been in the area since about 1999, and me myself, I've been doing it since I was in the military. Worked for some bigger companies around the area, and when I was in it, I found an area for good service, satisfaction. I felt like the bigger companies weren't really taking care of the people, so it wasn't open for a little company like me to go into their house and install a new system and do it like it should be done, professionally.
Where is Polar Caps located, and maybe you want to give a phone number also?
Okay, well, that phone number is 850-834-5075, and we're in the Liberty area, but we do most of our work right here in TV24 Springs.
Give that number just a little slower. I didn't even hardly have time to get my pencil out of my pocket before you gave that number out. I want you to give it a little slower this time and make sure people know who you are and where you're at and where you're located and a phone number, because, with the summer coming on, I've already had a little bit of problem with my air conditioner and heater, and we want to be sure that when the time comes, they'll know who to call as well. So as they getting their pencil and paper out this morning already and ready to copy down Polar Caps, I want you to give them your phone number one more time.
Okay.
Talk a little slower. You must be from up north originally.
I am. I didn't have much coffee this morning, but it is Polar Cap Services, and it's 834-5075. And you definitely need to call us if you have a unit that needs to be installed properly, or you got a freon leak, or you got a 30-year-old duct system, or any problems you have. We welcome all them challenges. Maybe you had 10 or 15 companies that came over and couldn't handle a certain particular job. We want them challenges. We want to take care of your problems, and just give us a call. Polar Caps, 834-5075.
Amen. I think about the different people that come in businesses and sometimes find it hard to get starting up. But I've noticed, how long did you say you'd been in?
Well, I've had my contractor's license since '99. I've actually worked for other companies while I've had the license itself, and I found out you can make the best hamburgers, but if no one knows you're making the best hamburgers, you won't have too many sales. So we do great work, and we're here this morning just to let people know about it.
All right, Polar Caps is the sponsor of our program today, and we do want to encourage you to give Paul a call at 834-5075. Did I copy that down correctly?
That's right.
834-5075 here in the TV24. Now, that 834 is a Glendale Gaskin number if you read that this morning, but he is locally here in the TV24 Springs area, so you be sure to give him a call if you have a need of an air conditioning or heating or possibly electrical work.
Freon leak, freon problem, airflow problem, whatever.
I know that he also has new units available, and we're going to be talking about those in just a little while. But right now we're going to ask him. I noticed you said you'd been here since 1999.
Yeah, I was in the Air Force, and my wife's from this area. I've been here since '95. Actually, worked for, like I said, the bigger companies, and was looking for a field to get into. And actually, air conditioning, heating, I did that in the military, so I kind of fell right into it. And like I said, worked for the bigger companies. Saw a need for someone to really do a good job for the customers. Take care of them like the customers are the boss. Not the contractor, the boss. The customer's the boss. So I feel that there's a need for a company coming here and get a lot of work from people that are dissatisfied with their contractors in the past, whether it be airflow problems, freon leaks, or whatever.
Paul told me before we started the broadcast today that he was a little nervous at coming on this program, it live and all. Some things there's no retakes on, and one thing I've noticed. My kids is in our society today. I've noticed that kids talk so fast that you can't understand them. You think you all come from up north.
I am. I'm from up north, and I'm not a paid actor. But you want a paid actor, we can talk about that. But if you want a paid professional air conditioning heating guy, that's me. We'll do that like a professional. That's what we will do.
Hey, and I think about all the different sponsors that we'll be sponsoring this program. We're glad to have Polar Caps. I want you to remember that name, Polar Caps. I've heard if a fellow was heard it asked one time a question, if you was blindfolded and flew around for hours in the air and they let you out, and when they opened the door you had a southern exposure in every direction, and a bear walked by, what color would that bear be? Naturally, you'd be at the North Pole, and it would be a polar bear. He'd be white. So we found that it would be very cold at the North Pole, and there'd be a polar bear walking by. And you remember that polar bear, and you'll remember Polar Caps. And people walking in the door, we just waving to them as they come by. This morning at Corner Cafe, on Tuesday mornings, I've noticed a lot of times on Tuesday mornings, the church groups will come through here, and I've just noticed 4 preachers walk in the door, and they've come for breakfast, I'm sure, but I know that they'll probably want to talk, but we're not letting no preachers talk this morning. They'll have enough conversation over there gathering up what they're going to speak about Sunday morning, and they ain't no telling, they may all preach the same message, and I'm sure it will be about Jesus Christ.
There you go.
But Polar Caps is our broadcast today. What you got here with us today?
Well, it's a germicidal light.
What?
A germicidal light, ultraviolet light. Another thing, sure, is your air conditioning, heating, and cooling properly. Yeah, that's good. But is it also clean? Is it healthy air? We also deal with that. We change out duct systems, and we install these germicidal lights. It kills the bacteria in the air and definitely makes it, a healthy living environment for your family. Got children, you're in the house a lot. Definitely recommend installing some germicidal lights, new duct systems. Long-term health for the family. Very good.
Germicidal lights.
Germicidal lights.
Helps take the germs out of the air.
Yeah, it's just the frequency. The light puts off a certain frequency. In this case, it's a blue frequency, and that frequency just kills the molecules and the airborne pollutants and all the pollutants and all sorts of things like that. And this is a blue tube type. There's a lot of types, some work good, some of them, but they use them in hospitals and all that stuff. When you go into a hospital, you just smell the fresh air in a hospital. That's because they got germicidal lights on there and good air filtration and so forth.
So it gives off an ultraviolet.
Yeah, you can't look at it. It's in a duct system, and it just kills stuff in the air, the germs and bacteria that may be in the air.
So it's in the duct system, so you can't see it operating, but if you quit coughing and all your allergies might...
It has an indicator light, so it's actually working, but, if you had an old system in there, and you take out your old system, put a new system in there, and put some germicidal lights in there, I guarantee you it'll be more comfortable, healthier in the house,
I know a lot of people in our area is taking on different medications for allergies and all. I have no doubt, but this working properly will help reduce those allergens that's in the air and give you a more clean breathing.
There ain't no doubt about it. I mean, they've studied it scientifically. It does work. Some people say it's hocus and pocus, but UV lights, germicidal lights, they got them in hospitals. They treat water plants with them and stuff like this. So this stuff does work, you know what I mean? And just recently, they built them for residential uses, just the last few years, 8-10 years. So they've been in use for a while. Not too many people get them. Maybe too many people don't know about them, but they do work. They do work, and that's something nowadays you could research that yourself,
And where can we find this germicidal light?
Polar Cap Services. Polar Caps Air Conditioning and Heating Services, 834-5075.
We want to thank Paul for coming in with us today and telling us. That's the first I'd ever heard about the germicidal lights, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of germs floating around in the air, no doubt, and there's a lot of allergens that's around there. But people who are constantly taking medication may want to invest in one of these, and you can find this.
Spend a lot of time in the house. You know, a lot of people spend a lot of time in the house. That's going to definitely make a difference.
All the couch potatoes and all the
retired people, just whatever. Maybe work in the house or whatever. If you spend a lot of time indoor, definitely check out the air duct system. Maybe install some germicidal lights.
How many would you recommend in the duct system in, say, a house of 2,000 square feet?
You could put, depending, like I said, they got different models, but one of these in the supply and one of these in return would work. Different models, you might have to put 2 in each or whatever. So depending on the make and model, different, but more merrier, definitely.
What's the average ballpark figure for one of these germicidal lights? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Well, it depends who you have out there. You know what I mean? Anywhere from $300 to $1,500, depending who's installing it. If you have me put one in while we're doing an installation, you can just about get it for just about free or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I want to encourage you that on the home builders that may be watching the program today, that while the installation service is available from Polar Caps, he can install one of these germicidal lights and help reduce the allergens. I've noticed in my house, and I've lived in a couple of areas around this old world, but I've noticed there's a lot of dust and things of this nature in the air. And there's more dust at my house than I've ever dreamed possible. Maybe one of these germicidal lights would be what I need also to help purify and clean the air.
Well, we got a couple things going on. You got the germicidal lights to clean it, but first we want to filter it before it even goes through the air handler. You know, have filters, good filters for that thick filter. So good filtration, new unit, clean unit, efficient unit, and good ductwork, definitely improve your health.
One of the hardest things for me to remember is to change the filters out on my air conditioner. How often should we change those filters going into our air conditioning units?
You should at least look at them every 30 days. And if they're still pretty clean, every 40 days. They're still clean every 40. You'll get your thing when they're a little bit dirty, maybe 1 month or 2 months, and you get your interval to change that out. But definitely inspect it every 30 days.
What do you think one of the leading indicators are that you need to change your filters?
Unit freezing up, AC not cooling, you know.
How about dust on your ceiling?
Yeah, that's very possible. Or you could have some duct leaks too. You could have some duct leaks. You know, there could be a lot of reasons for that on there. So
I've noticed that if you don't keep those filters changed out, that you'll be recycling some dust, and it'll blow out those filters, and it'll get your ceiling a little bit discolored, and so there's a lot of reasons that I need to go home today and change my filter.
It sounds, that much. It's not really a big deal, but it could be a big deal. You know, you can ruin your compressor and all that stuff. So definitely change your filter, and then if you can't figure it out, just give us a call.
I know there was used to be a local businessman here in Defuniak, and he created a filter service down on the beach, especially for some of these condo units, and he would go by every 30 days and change the filters out in these condos, and had a contract with them to be sure they kept the filters changed. If it's that important, I think we probably need to have some kind of alarm system to let us know, hey, it's time to change your filters, if it's nothing but at the first of the month every month.
Well, they have the thermostats that'll tell you each month if you get the right thermostat, and definitely you need to have a maintenance program. If you got a company, that offers a maintenance program, they'll come out at least every 6 months to check everything out.
Do you know a company that might offer a maintenance contract?
Polar Caps does. Polar Caps Air Conditioning Heating Services does at 834-5075. We like to come out every 6 months and take a look at everything, make sure your freon level is proper. Because if that's not proper, your electric bill goes high and all that stuff. Health reasons, electric reasons, so efficiency reasons rather. So there's a lot of reasons why you like to get one checked out. A lot of people go a few years without even getting checked out. Well, you make sure things running prime, so you save money on your electric bill. And look for any air duct leaks and all that stuff. So it's important. We're not saving lives here. We're not doing anything about world hunger. We're not doing about Monsanto. I don't know what to do about, Capitol Hill, whatever. Well, I can't help you with them problems, but we could do the air conditioning problems, airflow problems, health problems, indoor air quality, so forth. We'll work on all that stuff later when I get a little bit older, maybe.
I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you how we correct the problem up in the Washington area, so we'll just pass that one up this morning.
I think we all wonder on that.
I know that sometimes we can help our heating and cooling by changing out a dinosaur system. And sometimes we have that dinosaur in our houses and we don't want to change it out because it costs money. I don't know what the average cost is of changing out a unit. I'm sure you're going to be talking about that a little later on in the program, as we're going to have a unit available for you to look at. And
cost really varies from house to house because the labor and all that stuff. Really, I like to come out to the house, look at the job, see what's involved in the labor, see how much work's involved, and I can get a feel for if your returns are properly sized up and everything else. You know, instead of just giving you a price, coming in here, throwing that thing in there, I will see you later. I want you to call us in 10 years. I want everything to be good. I want you to save money on electric bill. I want you to improve your family's health.
So if you have a need for a local maintenance, a monthly maintenance, I'm sure he could work you out with a maintenance contract as well from Polar Caps. We want to thank Paul, and he'll be back later on in the program today to tell us a little more about our units that we're going to have available, and we're going to be talking about that. But this morning we have a guest with us today that's a local man, and hey, I've noticed he walking in, he pointed out that we both have blue shirts on, so we must be on the same page.
Roger, I'm so glad that you dress nice. Where do you get your shirts done?
I want to tell you, Miracle Cleaners,
Is that right?
They take people to the cleaners every day.
You know, I go there and air my dirty laundry about once a week.
I'm telling you, Miracle Cleaners is where it's happening. It's just next door to the Corner Cafe here in Defuniak. I'm on the corner of 8th Street and Highway 90, and the Corner Cafe sitting here on the corner of 9th Street and Highway 90. But I want to welcome you today to the program. Mr. Terry Dawkins is our guest this morning. You know, here a while back I heard that Terry was flying high, and he was out with a young lady, and she got in the aircraft with him, and they flew around Defuniak and was taking pictures.
Is this live?
This is live as it can be.
I don't think my wife knows about that, though, Roger.
Well, I want to tell you, if she's watching this morning, she's going to find out.
Oh, my goodness. I'm in trouble then, aren't I?
Things you never even dreamed about. Tell us a little bit about your flight that you had, Miss Kathy Mosley, I believe.
Kathy Mosley, yes, she's a teacher here at Walton Middle School, I believe it is. She also runs a video photography agency and is very good at what she does. And we were members of the museum board up here several years ago, and for those that have not been, you need to go up and visit our museum. We've got some great things up there to look at, some pictures, and it's on downtown at the train station on Circle Drive in Defuniak Springs. That's historic Defuniak Springs.
Now, if you don't know where the train station is anything significant that you could look at?
Yes, as you're going, you go to the library, and you go by Gulf Power office, Lake Defuniak, and there'll be a big red caboose there.
All right.
So even
is the museum in the caboose itself?
No, the museum is next door to the caboose, but it is part of
the museum.
Part of the museum, and it's a great place, and we're always looking for new members there. Also, put a plug in for that.
I was new members. You always looking for recruits.
Always looking for recruits and new members.
Almost like a pyramid system. You gotta always be recruiting.
Well, we could always use those because we have found out that some people think that they know all the history of Defuniak, but there's people that's lived here for at least 150 years and know twice as much as all the rest of us do. And we like to have those people come and share their stories and their history with us.
I'd like to see some of those people who's lived here 150 years. I haven't known very many of them, but I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Over the past, we've had a lot of different people come in and out of Defuniak. You know, I was born and raised here. They tore the old hospital down over here on College Avenue now, but I was born over there in the Walton County Hospital at that time, and my doctor was Dr. Reams was a delivery, and he helped me discover America back a few years ago. But at that particular time, Walton County Hospital was here. Today, it's no longer here.
Right.
I've noticed that there is another hospital that was in Defuniak Springs that they're kind of renovating now over across from the library.
Exactly.
Tell us about that. Do you know much about that particular organization?
I know something about that organization, but I could not speak of any authority on it. I know it's in Chautauqua, and they bought it, and they're renovating and doing a very nice job. Well, that brings us up to why we took the photographs.
Okay.
When we look around, you look at, today is the good old days of tomorrow. And like you mentioned before, the hospital you're born in is no longer there. And looking at some of the photographs there in the museum, we got to thinking, well, these are old photographs and they were fun to look at. Well, the generations come, like the hospital you're born is no longer there. So I furnished the airplane, got a bird's eye view, and Kathy did the rest of the work with her magic and her camera, trying to capture some of these photographs to save them for generations, the next generations that can go and look and say, well, the building's no longer here. And we try to take some of these pictures like our City Hall. We've taken the pictures of the middle school that's downtown. It's been here. I think it's probably one of the oldest schools.
You know, talking about the middle school, where the middle school is now, when I was coming up, part of that middle school was used to be the elementary school and used to be the junior high school, and they tore the old big major building down, and they have now got new buildings in there, but that used to be the whole school complex. That's right there where that is now. And things have changed over the years where that particular schoolhouse is.
Right, and it may be changing again. There's some talk of some renovation and making some changes there, and we just wanted to capture it before it had changed. It's like some of the downtown areas. We've got some of the downtown areas, and that's what we're just trying to do, just capture it a little bit.
Okay, I noticed that some of the things that you've taken a picture of was, you mentioned the City Hall.
Right.
The other day you were in Miracle Cleaners, and we were talking just briefly, and you mentioned that you took pictures of the City Hall, and I said, you know, that's where the old Florida Freshwater Fish and Wildlife Commission used to be. And a lot of people didn't even know we had an office in Defuniak Springs, and it's on the corner there where you got City Hall and the buildings there where the building department is and the permitting department. And it's in that building, and one right there on the corner is where the Florida Freshwater Fish and Game Commission used to be.
And who knows what will be there in years to come.
Yeah, there was some rumor that they were going to sell that corner off because it's a prime corner. I don't know if it's as prime a corner there as what the Corner Cafe is here.
I agree.
I've seen a lot of people go in the City Hall and the building complexes through the years, but I've seen more people come through these doors. There's a table here at the Corner Cafe they call the Table of Knowledge. It's got a sign hanging up over it. And I heard one lady say, yeah, it's either the Table of Knowledge or the lack thereof. But there's a lot of yarn gets strode over at that table. And as people come in and out of the cafe this morning, I've noticed a lot of different ones already coming in. But tell us a little bit more about what you photographed when you was flying, you know.
Well, basically, we held downtown areas, some of the old, down at Baldwin Avenue and some of the old buildings there. You know, our lake is something that we're really proud of, and we've got some good photographs of the lake. And Kathy made a presentation of one of her photographs that she had taken to our city, which is now hanging in City Hall. We've also took a picture for the school and presented it to the school board. And we've cataloged some other areas of interest that we think is interesting, like we just talked about our museum, our little red caboose, and we've talked about looking at some of the downtown area, some of the businesses we've got there, some of the old buildings that we want to preserve. We've gone out and we've taken care of the feed mill. I think it's called Wayne's Farm now, which has been a staple in our area. Well, we've looking at the hospital down 331. You know, the 331 bridge or 331 highway's coming through, and that may change the landscape there a bit. Just trying to capture some of the things as it is now before the highway gets put in, and things are changing. Basically, that's it. Just whatever we find interesting.
I was standing here at my business yesterday, and my daughter came through. No, it might have been one of my employees, and I pointed down to the post office on the corner of 7th Street and Highway 90 across from Triangle Chevrolet. And I said, did you know that used to be our post office? And she said, I had no idea that was the post office. You know, there's a lot of things, as Terry has mentioned, there's a lot of things changing in our area today. And buildings are being renovated. I know that Alan Rutherford used to have the Service Drug Store on the corner of Baldwin Avenue and 7th Street, and before him, Buddy Warren had that particular business. And today, it's totally been renovated again, and Alan has rented that building out to another business down there that has they'll help us look good, Terry.
Absolutely. Looking good.
The business that's down there, they give us a haircut and pedicure and a manicure, and I don't know what all they offer, but I'll tell you that there's a lot of change going. I noticed right across the street here. I want to give a plug for my granddaughter.
Okay.
If you don't plug your granddaughter's business, you won't. Bible says if you won't look out after your own, you're worse than an infidel. But I'll tell you that this morning that we have a new business that's come into Funiac. She began her business over in Ponce de Leon, and because most of her business, a large percentage of it came from the Funiac Springs, that she moved that business from Ponce de Leon over to the Funiac Springs. And as we see now that Katie Beth Boutique is across the street from the Corner Cafe here in the Funiac. And we know that she offers a lot of stuff. Now, you guys don't need to go in there because mainly it's for girls and all, but I'll tell you, Katie Beth Boutique has a lot of stuff to offer all the young ladies and older ladies. I'm telling you, my wife is a frequent flyer there at that particular business. But Katie Beth Boutique has moved in. That particular drugstore is now a different thing over at where Service Drug Store used to be. But we have a lot of different stuff moving into our area. We hope to have one of our county administrators with us. I just got a cue that we also have right here next door to us is a Java Shack. And if you need a cup of Java, I understand that to be almost like mud coffee. But they have anything from lattes to all that other stuff that I'm not familiar with. But I'll tell you that Katie Beth Boutiques, the Java Shack, and different places are moving in right here in the downtown area, helping keep the Funiac Springs revitalized. And as we see those fronts change, it's going to make a difference in our community. I've noticed a lot of our stores that used to be closed and empty buildings are now being opened up, and new businesses are coming in. Where else did you, you flew around the Funiac area, and what else did you photograph, Terry, besides the hospital area and the city hall?
Really just anything of interest. That was things we were focused on, some of the historical buildings, but we just went around the countryside and picked out some things. When you get to flying, you wander around and find objects, and it's a nice thing to have a bird's eye view from 1,500 feet to take a look at things. But we were mostly focusing on the buildings in downtown Funiac Springs. And we did go by and take the new high school along with the old high school. But basically, we were focusing on downtown Funiac Springs.
I was noticing here a while back, I drove by over on Guava Avenue. And I drove by and I pointed out, I said, that used to be the Knee-High Bottling Company. I don't know if you was familiar with that or aware of that, but that's right around the corner from where you live. But the Knee-High Bottling, Coca-Cola Bottling Company was on North 9th Street here, but a lot of things have changed through the years. I noticed that after the Coca-Cola Bottling Company quit, I have a little, how many ounce drinks was those small Cokes?
8 ounces.
No, it wasn't that big.
It wasn't?
6.5 ounces, those little small bottles was, and used to on the bottom of those drink bottles, they would imprint the name of the city that might have been where it was either had a bottling company processing plant. And I have one that has the Funiac Springs on it, on the bottom of that drink bottle. Now, I've noticed since that particular time that a lot of 2 or 3 other businesses is coming in. You might say, well, where was the Coca-Cola Bottling Company at? It's it's on North 9th Street, where today there's a Power Sports is. It used to be Hodges Cash and Carry. And different things have come into that particular building through the years, but where Hodges Cash and Carry used to be, back when some of the original owners of Hodges Cash and Carry, Jerry Hodge, and I think Buddy Supples was in that particular building. There's part of the ownership of that, but it's changed through the years. It went from there to the Russians, and today it's the Power Sports place, and Southern Power Sports. You might find it there if you have of course, we give them a lot of free advertisement today, Terry.
I think so.
You got anybody you want to talk about?
I think our city council's doing a good job as getting industry to come down. Our city manager's doing a wonderful job to encourage people to come down and It's a friendly city. I think there's a lot of opportunities for these buildings downtown. I know our councilmen have all wanted to.
Well, I tell you, I've noticed that change comes in, and a lot of people in our community like the way Defuniak operates. Others want to come in and change it. They came in here from New York City and wants us to be like New York City, and this is personal now. This is a personal response I'm fixing to give you, but sometimes I think if they want it to be like New York City, they might want to move back to New York City because this is Defuniak Springs.
Well, before they move back to New York City, in April the 25th, 26th, we're going to have Marvel of Flight at our airport. And it's grown. This will be our 4th year at Marvel of Flight. We're going to have a B-25 at Marvel of Flight. We're going to have some World War II birds out there. We're going to have some bouncy pits for the children, food booths. It's just going to be a great time for the city of Defuniak Springs. Like I said, it started off, this is our 4th year. First year we did it, I think we probably had about 1,200 people. The second year, somewhere around 2,500. The last year, 3rd year, estimated about 5,000 to 6,000 people. So it has grown, and then it's one of the major things I think our city's put on, and it's at our airport. So come early, enjoy. We're going to have going to be helicopter rides. Friends of Army Aviation out of Alabama is going to come. Fort Rooker area, I think it's Headland or I forget the name of the airport up there. They're going to come out of, and they're bringing 2 helicopters for rides. We're going to have a steerman, not a steerman, but a biplane to give rides, a helicopter rides in a Rockwell. Going to have a balloon that'll take you up and down. You can't float around, but it'll float you up and float you back. Parachute driving, those that want to. They're going to have tandem air parachuting. It's going to be a fun time, and encourage everybody to get there early, stay late, and enjoy Defuniak Springs. April the 25th, 26th, that weekend. And get out early. The admission is a can of food. And if you don't have the admission, that's fine, but we're collecting for Matrix here for our food pantry, for the city's food pantry. And we just ask you to bring some canned goods. We're going to a park. Entrance will be over on Gene Hurley Road. Park, we'll have transportation, buses to take you down to the runway. And it's going to be a fun time. I want everybody to show up.
Sound like it's well organized, and basically it's telling a little bit about the history of aviation. Is this?
Absolutely. The manager, Ryan Adams, out at the airport has done a great job. He's a good young man. He's worked diligently on this and get it to work 2 years in a row. And it's wonderful. I mean, he's done a great job. It's a committee, though, of everybody, just like I found in Walton County. The Sheriff's Posse, the Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, and a lot of businesses. This is all funded without tax dollars. It's all through contributions, and funding is done through the private sector. So it's something that the community, I found that the community comes together when we have things to do. They give of themselves to make it work. So this is a community effort. Going to have a lot of people involved, and we're meeting regularly now. We meet at the Chautauqua building on Circle Drive on Friday from 11 to 12, and we'll be meeting every Friday until the date. If you want to come by and have some input, please join us.
Amen. Mr. Terry Dawkins has been our guest here so far this morning, and we want to thank him for coming by and sharing with us a little bit about his flight with Kathy Mosley as they were photographing different scenes and different buildings around Defuniak Springs. I tell you, as time develops and time goes on, there's going to be more changes coming to Defuniak Springs and different businesses to come in. But in all of that, we are thankful for the business that's sponsoring our program today, and that's Polar Caps here in the Defuniak Springs area. Polar Caps phone number, Mr. Paul Lewis is his name, and his phone number, if you have a pencil and you need help with your air conditioning and refrigeration and your cooling system, you can contact him by telephone at 834-5075. We're going to let Mr. Lewis here tell us a little bit. Now, he tries to talk too fast. He don't talk slow like the rest of us around Defuniak, but we're going to get him to talk a little bit slower this morning and kind of let him tell you about it. And tell us a little more about Polar Caps and what you have available today, Paul.
Well, what I would like to talk about is the type of equipment we set. I've been in the business for quite some time, and we set all different types of equipment in the past. And I've been setting a Mana now for the last few years. That's a Mana. And the reason why I'm setting it, and I know he's going to pan over and look at the Mana itself. You get a picture of that in a second here. It's a real pretty unit. It just happens to be pretty, but it's a good unit. And of course,
particular unit?
this is a Mana, and this is a 14 SEER seasonal energy efficiency rating. All the equipment comes rated with an efficiency number, and it's just a SEER rating, SEER. And the higher the number, the more efficient the system. So of course, the higher the number, the more efficient the equipment. This one right here that we're showing is a Mana 14 SEER. I could sell you a 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 SEER. But if you get the 14 SEER or higher, I could include a 10 years parts and labor. And Mana has the best warranties in the industry. There's a compressor inside this unit right here. If that compressor should ever go bad, they give us a whole brand new unit, outdoor unit for free. That's a lifetime guarantee on this Mana 14 SEER above. You could take the Mana 14 SEER above, put it in with a high efficiency air handler. You could add a variable speed air handler, increase the your comfort, humidity level, and so forth. Of course, you can do everything with it: duct system, UV lights, and all that stuff. But the Mana is a good system, best warranties in the industry. That's why I use them. And they're there to stay. And this particular one, 14 SEER above, 10 years parts and labor, with the compressor is a lifetime. Now, if the compressor does go bad, they don't just give us a new compressor. They give me a whole brand new outdoor unit. So, I like it. That's why I go with the Mana. Like I said, I'll sell anything. I'll put anything you want to. But to me, I'll try to talk you into the Mana just because of the warranties. I can sell you anything. Like I said, the Mana because of the warranties, and they stay behind the equipment.
And this is Polar Caps.
Polar Caps, yeah. Once again, yeah, Polar Caps will install you the Mana. Polar Caps air conditioning heating services.
I've noticed that a lot of these units, I've heard some old dinosaur units that you could hear them before you ever got to the house. It'd be so loud. This is a Mana unit. Is it a quiet running unit?
Yes, it is. It is. This particular unit has about 73 decibel. You know, we could get that a little lower if we go to 16 or 18, but the decibel level on these older units outside or whatever, down the road, they're a lot higher. So definitely when we put these units in, we hear the customers, it is quieter. And I just had a customer call the other day, we saved $150 on our electric bill and all that stuff. So depending on how high your electric bill is, and each case is different, it could, save you a lot of money, comfort and all that stuff. But if you don't want to play around, you want Polar Caps to come in here, put you in a Mana in here with some good warranties, because this thing's warranted to 2024. That's long. 2024, you won't have to open up your pocketbook, your purse, for any repairs, A Mana will pay me if anything should happen to the thing to come and fix it. So, no games, you guys get back to life, no aggravation. Call Polar Caps to take care of that. We know you guys got a lot of stuff to do. Get back to life and live life and leave all your air conditioning, heating problems to us. We'll take care of them.
Hey, this morning our guests have been our sponsor this morning on today's program is Paul Lewis with Polar Caps, and we want to thank him for sponsoring this program this morning. I want to come to you this morning in a way of announcement that a celebration of life. Some of you may have known Barrett Glover. He passed away here just recently, and on April the 1st, of 2014, in the amphitheater here in the Lake Yard in Defuniak Springs, we're going to be having a celebration of life for Barrett Glover. Things that's going to be happening at that particular time. We will have our national anthem there by Robert Lewis, and we're going to have a song by Mark Hansen. We'll be having a testimony there by Chaplain Sam Waters, and different people is going to be in that particular thing. We'll have not only testimony, but we'll have a song. My goodness, a world-renowned singer, Brother R.W. White. He'll be singing in the Lake Yard that particular day. We'll have the mayor will be there, Mr. Bob Campbell. He will be there, and we'll have a guest speaker there that day talking concerning Mr. Glover. Barrett Glover not only was a good pastor and a good preacher, and he was a good friend, but he was also the senior chaplain at the Walden Correctional Institution for years, and before his passing. And speaking on those things, Mr. Walter Ailes, pastor of a local church, church. Walter Ailes will be bringing a brief message, and Apostle R.W. White will be there. At beginning to close that particular service, they will have a 21-gun salute and taps being played there as we celebrate the life of Barrett Glover. So we want to encourage you. That is April the 1st. April the 1st, that's just a month away, and less than a month away, just a few days from now, about Tuesday to be a matter of fact, that we'll be there in the lake yard at the amphitheater talking about the life and celebrating the life of Walter Ailes. We want to bring on board here this morning another guest that we have available, and Mr. Don Wilkerson is here with us today also. He's a frequent flyer here at the Corner Cafe as well, and he eats here almost every morning. His wife tries to cook for him, and he is so nice to his wife. He won't let her cook and all, but he gets up and comes to the Corner Cafe to have breakfast most every morning during the week particularly. And I've asked Don if he would come and share with us a little bit about an event that's coming up not long down the road, and that's a memorial service that's been happening. Where's that been happening, Don?
Gum Creek, just east of Glendale. 1 mile, go to Glendale, turn right, 1 mile. Gum Creek Cemetery, it's been there for 150 or so years or better, one of the older cemeteries in the county. And as a young child, I went with my dad, who was a World War I veteran, and I got accustomed to going up there on the 11th of November, which was a big day for them, the World War I veterans, and they put cross flags on the gates of the cemetery. Well, when I got through with my career and retired and came back home, I wanted to do something. So to start a Memorial Day, the 11th of November was well taken by a lot of people everywhere having Armistice Day things, and it's now Veterans Day. But I decided on Memorial Day. Memorial has a lot of meaning about a lot of veterans who were injured in service and died. Not only that, the old moms and dads who stayed home and kept the home fires burning for all of us veterans to come back home to. And it meant something to me, and I've tried to share it with the public. It's been going now, this will be the 18th year, and I have 2 helpers that jump in and help me with it. One is Tom Baker, who's well known here in town, and the other is Rhonda Skipper, our tax collector. She usually sings and does a wonderful job there helping me out. And it's on Monday morning, the 26th of May this year at 8 a.m. Now, on veterans things and military things, everything starts on a military base at 8 a.m. And that's why I've chose 8 a.m. in the morning. A lot of folks don't want to get up that quick, but I've chose that to start the day as a Veterans Day event. And everybody seems to like that because they can do it, go to it, have 35 minutes of something to enjoy, and then they go home and have the rest of the Memorial Day to themselves. And that's why we've done it. The 18th year at Gum Creek Cemetery, and that's at Glendale. And I think the road up there, the little road to the right, is 183B.
I noticed that you also, as a result of having that particular service for Memorial, I know that a lot of times we think that Memorial is strictly for those who've departed and deceased, and also I noticed that I was reading in the Bible here not long ago about a man over in Acts chapter number 10, that he was a good man. His name was Cornelius, and we find that the Bible says that his alms, his good deeds had come up as a memorial unto the Lord. So it also represents the memories of people that's still living as well. But I noticed that you try to have a guest speaker there, and usually a military person.
Well, we spoke last year to a young man who grew up in this area, and I've not made contact with him yet, but he is a commander in the United States Navy up in Virginia. And if he told me then he would accept and he would do it. And so I have got to go see his dad and make contact with Paige Adams. We're hoping that Paige Adams will be our speaker this year. However, we have some others that we can get, and they're always very interesting type people. We've had a lot of folks in the Funiac and Walden County don't know, but we had a 3-star general up there not long ago, and we had he was a lieutenant general in the United States Air Force. He was commander of Hurlburt Field. And he came and spoke, and it was really a moving thing because he had been in the nitty-gritty of everything. And then we had a major general of the Air Force to speak, and we've had a Army general who was his name escapes me at the moment, but he is the judge over in Okaloosa County, and he was the highest ranking serviceman to be injured in the war over there in Afghanistan. But he came. We've had 3 generals, and we've had lots of other people, and we will have a good speaker this time, and it only lasts about 35 minutes. We start with a morning prayer, and we end with a ending prayer. And Brother Wayne White was one of our ministers up there, and we probably will have him back again if he'll accept. So we welcome everybody to Gum Creek Cemetery on Memorial Day, which is Monday, May the 26th at 8 a.m. and you'll have a good enjoyable time. I mean, it's a good service, and I'm real pleased that it's gone over so well.
You know, over the years, Memorial Day has been the last Monday of the month of May, and it's traditionally, of course, just like the days of the months vary. This year, it's the last Monday of May is the 26th, and a lot of us have that day off when we close our businesses, and the government gives days off, and most of us just take off and go fishing and don't give much thought about those that have given their lives and particularly good service to our community and our memorial lives at services like this one that Don is doing here at Gum Creek. Like I say, it's just about 8 miles north. How far is Glendale north of the Funiac?
It's roughly 9 miles.
9 miles to...
I would like to add also that there are 12 graves there of veterans who was in the Civil War. There are 2 Union veterans and 10 Confederate veterans. My grandfather was one of those, they're Confederate veterans, and he's buried there, and I do raise a Confederate flag to him every year. And I put a Confederate flag to every one of those Confederates, and I put a American flag to every veteran that I can find in that cemetery. I have several uncles that were served. I have several cousins that were served, but there's just lots of veterans there in that cemetery, and I'm proud to be associated and be working with that cemetery. It means a lot to me.
I noticed that a lot of times we give Don, he don't want any recognition, but it's people like Don Wilkerson who have, through the years, that have given of their time and their service to our community. And this is what Hometown Morning is going to be about, is people who's given their time and service to our community. Don is one of these people, and he mentioned 2 other people that helps him with this particular program on Memorial Day now, Mr. Tom Baker and Miss Rhonda Skipper, that they'll be participating also and helping with this event. He'll have different speakers and guests there. We want to encourage each one of you. We want to thank Don Wilkerson for his community involvement here and helping our community to stay active and remembering those who have come quite possibly and gave their life for the most part in service to our country. And I think, Don, that one of the things we're losing in our schools today is some of our history and the history that is being generated and has been generated in time past. But we want to remember those who have come before us and remember them. And we want to thank people like you, Don, for your service to this community as well and being a part of Hometown Mornings this morning here, originating in the cafe here at the Corner Cafe. And we want to thank you, Don, for being a part of the program this morning.
Thank you.
God bless you today. This morning, we've talked about a lot of different things. We talked with Terry Dawkins, and Terry Dawkins here, as he was traveling, and he and Kathy Mosley did their flight and done different pictures of the Defuniak area. Those pictures will be made available, and those photographs will be made available to the public. He mentioned the museum that was down on the lake yard by the train depot there. You can see that museum there on Circle Drive, right next to the caboose. And we want to thank you for viewing in this morning and being a part of the program. And also Mr. Don Wilkerson today, we want to thank him for being here and telling us a little bit. As you see here this morning, as the camera goes around, different people are in the cafe this morning in the hustle and bustle, and we want to invite you to be a part of the Corner Cafe here in Defuniak Springs on the corner of 8th Street and Highway 90 as they participate in their breakfast this morning. And I'll tell you that a lot of people have come through the doors at Corner Cafe. Me being born and raised here in this town, it's been a landmark for years. They've changed the outside decor as well as the inside, and people overall have come through these doors. I've seen some very famous people come through these doors through the years, and we want to thank people for having maintained the historical value of the Corner Cafe. This morning, our host of this particular and our sponsor of the day is Polar Caps. And we want to thank Polar Caps and Mr. Paul Lewis. He's going to talk to us a little bit about a service contract possibly and different things about his business on Polar Caps. I'm going to give you his phone number. Paul likes to talk real fast. You think he's just talking to the younger generation. I brought that up 2 or 3 different times, but this morning I'll tell you, if you need someone to help you with your air conditioning and cooling, summer's just coming on. Maybe you need it just serviced before the summer really gets in. A lot of times people don't do maintenance. They try to do repairs, but a little bit of maintenance is worth, I've heard it said an ounce of maintenance is worth a pound to cure, that it costs a lot less to maintain than it does to replace. Is this correct, Paul?
No doubt about it, even if you do upgrade and put a new system in there, yeah, it's good to get a maintenance contract, no doubt about it, very important. Even an older unit, you got an older unit ain't been checked out in a long time, get us over there, put you on a maintenance contract, check the Freon and everything, get the Freon where it should be, drop your electric bill, and check everything out, so it's very important. Freon leaks, I want to get back to that. There's a lot of people that have Freon leaks, and they've got the companies coming out there, and they put Freon in there, and they see them next year and all that stuff. Some people got Freon leaks that are hard to find. If you mention this commercial here, at the Corner Cafe here, and you have a Freon leak, I'll come and locate that thing without a charge. No charge if you mention this commercial this morning. And any other problem, you have airflow problems, mechanical problems, or if you don't have an AC contracting company in your back pocket, you need to have one. You need to be able to call somebody if you have any problems. It's good to have one.
Is that a free service call?
And it's a free service call for, if you have one of the problems. If you mention this ad, it sure is. If you got a Freon leak problem, real aggravating one, no one could find or whatever, we'll come out there and we'll locate that and tell you how to fix it. Or, of course, we'll fix it ourselves if you want to. But what I'm getting at is, we'll find that thing for you, and we won't charge you if you mention this ad. If you mention this commercial, Corner Cafe, we'll take care of you.
Hey, Paul, we want to thank you for sponsoring the program this morning of Hometown Morning. We'll be coming to you live each Friday, quite possibly. May move to a different day of the week or include another day of the week in times in the future. But we do want to thank Polar Caps for being with us today and sponsoring this program, originating here at the corner of 9th Street and Highway 90 here in Defuniak Springs. We want to encourage you to tune in each day and each morning to Hometown Mornings, and we want to encourage you to continue to watch TV24, Bright House Cable 3 here in Defuniak Springs, and we want to thank you for being a part of us today here on Hometown Mornings. Hey, I just heard, think about a live broadcast, Paul. You always got more time sometimes than you think. I've sat here in this chair for 55 minutes, and he says you got 5 more minutes. Wow. He showed this unit. This unit, a lot of things are eyesores to people sometimes when they sit outside their house and they don't want them around. But I'm gonna ask our cameraman if he would to pan in on this particular unit.
That is pretty. That is very pretty. That's a pretty unit right there. It just happens to be pretty. It's a good unit, and like I said, that has the 10 years parts and labor, and that particular 14 SEER above has a lifetime on the compressor. Lifetime on the compressor. If that thing fails for whatever reason, they give us a brand new outdoor unit free. That's good for me because it's easier to do that job. But that's why we sell them. And Amana, 14 SEER above, lifetime on the compressor. Let's sign you guys up for some maintenance contracts. And like I said, I'm serious about finding some of these Freon leak. You mentioned this ad. We won't charge you a dime. We'll find it, get rid of that problem, and save some money and let you go.
I noticed one thing that you mentioned a while ago in this particular unit and the warranty on this unit. If the compressor goes out of lifetime warranty, you said they not only replace the compressor, but they replace the entire unit. Is this correct?
Yeah, and I believe Amana's the only one that does that. Like I said, I got the best warranties in the industry. Yeah, if the compressor inside goes bad, instead of dealing with that, it's kind of aggravated. Other contractors know, and people in my field, it's really aggravating. But if it does go bad, they give us a whole brand new outdoor unit to replace the bad compressor, if it happens.
All right. We want to thank you this morning for viewing in, and future telecasts we're going to be having here on Hometown Morning. We're going to be talking to you in the future about the different things that's happening in our community. One of them, as Terry Dawkins mentioned earlier, was a Marvel of Flight, and this coming up in this particular April the 26th. We want you to participate in the Marvel. It's growing more and more each year. And the reason it grows is because it's a success. And we find that in the organization of this particular Marvel of Flight is that there will be different things that will be transportation there available for you, and to help you, to park you, to get you back to the site, be helicopter rides, air balloon rides will take you up and let you see over the Defuniak area, different things. We're going to be talking to one of our people from the county concerning what's coming in the Mossy Head area in the near future. We hope to have Ryan Adams with Marvel of Flight here on one of our broadcasts before April the 26th, and he'll be sharing a little more with you about Marvel of Flight, but also about what everything is coming into our area and how it's going to affect and impact us as a community. And we want you to continue to view Hometown Mornings here, originating today at the Corner Cafe. If you don't have a place to eat today for lunch, we're going to pan this menu. It's on the board here just above my head. Matter of fact, I'm going to move out of the way and where I can read this. Some of you may be wondering, you say, well, that sure sounds corny, just advertising what's going on the menu. But I'll tell you, they're having fried chicken or fried or grilled shrimp today, and fried catfish or grilled catfish. And you get 2 sides, one of the baked beans, turnip greens, potatoes, for okra, cheese grits, and a salad. A whole host of things. Some of their favorite stuff is down here in this area, and that is our homemade desserts. I'll tell you, that's one of my favorites, is them desserts. It helps kind of keep my pants up, because I keep that weight just coming on, and I don't have to buy another belt. I just let another notch out on this one that I got. But they have a caramel cake and tropical delight and blueberry delight this morning here at the Corner Cafe. But we want to encourage you to come and be a part of Defuniak Springs here at Corner Cafe. I noticed it's beginning to rain outside. If you're wondering what's going on, that it's raining outside, and we're here at the corner of 9th Street and Highway 90 at Corner Cafe. We want to encourage you to tune in each week as we bring you different events that's happening. We'll have people from different areas of administration throughout our county, from the sheriff's department to the city police to things that's happening. I noticed a while ago our guest mentioned the sheriff's posse, and you might have seen these cars riding around Defuniak Springs. It talked about the sheriff's posse, and you wonder, what are those people doing? And I've noticed that their cars, they don't have red and blue lights, they have amber lights, and they're non-sworn people working and helping with different areas of the community and different events, funerals and whatnot. But we want to thank you for viewing in. Thank you for tuning in to Hometown Morning. God bless you is our prayer.